Welcome back to another episode of Spaceman 2.0. Here they're going to point out the truth of the KHAZARIan Mafia show. They rule the show, it seems to be. Is this a myth? Or has it been planned for a while? Even the Ukraine war, Shabbat Strategy for Slavic Genocide, 1994 article by leader Mandel Schneerson. Slab Russian can be destroyed but never conquered. That is why this need is subject to liquidation and at first a sharp reduction in their numbers. The Ukrainians would think that they are fighting against the expansionist Russia and struggle for independence. They will think that they have finally gained their freedom while they become fully subdued by us. The same will be thought by Russians as though they defend their taken away from them and so on. Their national interest to return their lands illegally, taken away from them and so on. So, having said that, where does this happen? Ashkenazi Jews, Israelis have no connection to the ancient Hebrews. They are Khazars. The Bolshevik Revolution was a revenge for the Kievan Rus destruction of the Khazar Empire in 965 AD. When the Russian-Ukrainian war continues its millennia-long hate, the New World Order is the rebirth of the old Khazar Empire, extended to the whole planet. NATO is Khazaria in drag, literally. Okay, so this was given in a speech in 1994. All right, that's 30 years ago. So, the Khazar hypothesis of Ashkenazi ancestry, we got a history of it. It goes right back to even Koisler, the 13th tribe, and contemporary views. Genetics and the Khazar theory. Okay, but one of the very interesting things is there was a writer who wrote a book about how King Bulan and a rabbi would talk about how Judaism was the religion for them to adopt back in 740 AD, the Khazar kingdom. So this is the book right here, the Khazari by Rabbi Yehuda Halevi. And this is basically the Khazari in defense of the despised faith, and the first new translation in English to Khazari since 1905, annotated and explained, based on the classic commentaries written within by Rabbi Yehuda Halevi of Spain over a period of 20 years and completed in 1140. The Khazarians enthralled generations of Jews and non-Jews alike with its clear-cut presentation on Judaism and its polemics against Greek philosophy, Christianity, Islam, and Karaism. Okay, so the Khazari presents a dialogue between King Bulan of the Khazars and a rabbi. The story is told that the righteous king was plagued by a recurring dream in which an angel told him, your intentions are desirable to the Creator, but not your deeds. Anyways, basically the rabbi was selling him on why they should become Judaists. And they were forced to take on a religion in 740 AD. So this book right here is also a telltale sign that the Khazarian kingdom did exist. Maybe Ghangis Khan and his hordes were pushed, westward, and they were forced to take on a religion by the Persians, the Russians, and the Rus. The Scandinavians. Now, if you can get your hand on this book, Koisler, the 13th tribe, this will explain how this Khazarian kingdom were barbarians and they were forced to take on a religion, and King Bulan had the three religions come to them and say which one would you like to claim as your own. So they chose Judaism, and this goes to show the Ashkenazi ancestry goes back to the Khazars, and therefore you can't be anti-Semitic if you're not in alignment with Khazar kingdomship of taking over the world through domination and continuous barbarianism, using religion in the name of killing, using religion for that reason. And we can see it happening right now. And that's why even people are talking about this. Why is Gaza and Ukraine are separate conflicts, but conspiracy theorists are trying to link the two on social media? Well, they are linked. Okay, because the same people that are taking over Ukraine are taking over Gaza. All right, and this is the same conflict. They're upset that they were forced to take on, and back in Russia, the Russian king came and destroyed their kingdom, the Khazarian kingdom, and this is payback for it. So, if that's not enough to be said, the first Khazaria, the great Khazar Empire, from the 7th to the 10th century. The second Khazaria, the Bolshevik rule, 1917 to the end of the 20s, when they killed 60 million Christians, blood running in the streets. Holodomor in Ukraine, where they starved 20 million. After the Second World War, they starved 10 million non-armed combatants, they called them. Didn't even let the Red Cross in. In Germany, men, women, and children starved. In their own feces they fell in, because they haven't been given only a potato to eat throughout the day. This was by Khazarian Bolsheviks. Communists was sweeping the globe. That's what the Cold War was all about. And the current third Khazaria is what? The CIS. 1991. Till when? We must wake up, people, and not let the third Khazaria take over these wolves in sheep's clothing. And if you think this isn't true about the third Khazaria, then let's just take a look what's in our regular magazines. So let's look at a couple National Geographic inside the medieval world. Okay, and this is a newer one. All right, what do you have here? Talking about in Constantinople time, Khazars, Magyars. Where are they? Right between the Caspian and the Black Sea and the Caucasus Mountains. All right, look at that, Turks. So they had mid-Mongoloid Turkish blood. Okay, nothing to do with the blood that's down south in the Palestinian area. That's even called Syria back then. So with that being said, let's move on to the next show of the Khazar Kingdom. Look, 965, the year they were taken over by Russian king, something Slav, and that's why they're getting back at them. 1917 was the first revenge on the Romanov family of Russia, which was a pure Christian country. And now, in 965, they were taken over and fully conquered. And this is revenge. That's why Ukraine is going through heck right now. Between the 12th and the 13th, the Mongol Empire. Look at that, between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. So they were still taking over. Fighting in the name of. And in ancient times, that land between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea was called Scythia. Now, you'll see that in some of the movies, the Scythian warriors Or I think the mummy returns or something like that. So could the Scythians be Gog from Magog that comes down and invades the Holy Lands? And that was from the National Geographic, The Story of Jesus, and this year as well. And at a time of 50 to 30 BC, we can see how close this area is to having people come and invade and have to fight off these barbarians. Thank God the Caucasus Mountains was there, but they still came in through the Caspian Sea, which used to be called the what? Khazar Sea. And that was in National Geographic Atlas of Ancient Egypt of this year. Having said that, are the Ashkenazis, the so-called self-styled Jews that believe they are Jews but are truly Khazarian in lineage and have hybridized through Europeans over the ages, creating a false white race or Hebrewic race. Now, having said that, having to look next time into a mythology about Egyptian king Akhenaton, and was his reign truly that of the true one God, Aton, A-T-O-N, and he forbade the worship of other gods. And in Egypt they had all sorts of ways of worshiping God, just like the Hindus in India, and he forbade it. Now, were the Hyksos some of the real Judeans, or were they part of the false cult that took on the name and stole money out of the Egyptians from the pharaohs in the day of Akhenaton? Some say Akhenaton was Moses, and we shall get into that, and how even Abraham was Abram before he became Abraham, but he was in the land of Ur, which was in Iraq. And so this map will do, as Abraham in the past would travel from around here, the Tigris and the Euphrates, in the land of Ur, and he went and got a mixed multitude of people. Where did they come from? They were a mixed multitude, and he brought them down into Syria, which now is present-day Israel, as they have inhabited the land of the Palestinians. Israel is truly